A big issue that I find happens with married women in the sexual experience is that they are pushing themselves to do things that they are not comfortable with, and even just thinking they should like certain things, so pushing themselves to do that and not really looking forward to the sexual experience. So obviously this is an adult conversation, so if you have kids around, put in some earbuds. So if you would like to look forward to the sexual experience with your husband a little bit more, this is the video for you. So just keep on watching. My name is Janna Denton-Howes. I am a marriage coach and creator of two programs, 30 Days to Wanting It More, which helps women who don't want sex very much, and the Marriage Mastery Club, which is a great experience, and I hope you join once I open that up in like 7 months. Okay, so today we are going to cover something that I see as such a huge issue in relationships, and I don't see people talking about it very much. So it is around the issue of consent in marriage within the sexual experience, and it's very subtle, so let's dig into it here. Why is this a big problem if women are pushing themselves to do things that they think they should like or feel like they are obligated to do? Well, it is all about safety, and if you don't feel safe in the sexual experience, even with your wonderful husband who you love and appreciate and all that, then you are not going to enjoy the experience, you're not going to look forward to it, and you're not going to be experiencing a lot of pleasure, because you need to feel safe in order to feel pleasure and enjoy the experience. So it's a really big problem, and it happens in so many like really happy marriages. Okay, so I'm going to cover a couple of things here. Why do women pressure themselves? Because there's a reason for it. Why the husbands pressure their wives to do things, and what to do about all this stuff. And it's relatively simple, but takes some practice to implement into your life. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it. So why do women push themselves? Well, I have talked quite a bit in the past about media and the effect it has on our sex life, because there are so many shoulds that it tells us what we should like, right? We can all name very specific sex acts that are kind of considered acceptable and should be part of the experience. So that's number one, is all those shoulds that we have growing up watching all this stuff. I mean, Disney movies have that kind of stuff. Also, we have fear of abandonment. That's just kind of where we go. We're worried our husbands are going to be bored or not having a good time. It's not exciting enough. And so we push ourselves out of our comfort zone. And not only out of our comfort zone, but we deny ourselves other very, very pleasurable things that we would really enjoy, because they don't fit within those terms, so to speak. So also, women will internalize things and just assume that everything happening is something wrong with us, right? We are the ones broken, we're the ones that need to be fixed. And so if that's the case, then we should just, buck up and just push ourselves to do things that we're not really enjoying or feel comfortable with. Why do men push women? So I believe men are generally really great. I don't think they're pigs or perverse or anything like that. I don't think they do a lot of this stuff intentionally, just like we're not doing things intentionally. But again, it's the media. The media teaches men that women like certain things, and that certain sexual acts or things about women's bodies are kind of they're right. And this sense of entitlement that happens in, again, really, really great men is so pervasive in our culture. If I find looking at my wife naked enjoyable, then that is something that's kind of my right. I'm married, and so I should be able to Google at her. Is that the word? I don't know. I can just like googly eyes, like, if I enjoy touching her breast, then that is my right. That's just what married couples do. That's just kind of what is, if I like to kiss my wife passionately, then that's what we should be doing, because that's, that's what everyone does, But the thing is, that is just set up by our culture. That's not necessarily the truth or what should be happening in your relationship. So, one last thing is that women are, because they're worried about abandonment and worried about their husbands not having a good time, they're not necessarily being very truthful. And that's what I see a lot of times. By the time I support women and sometimes their husbands with one-on-one coaching, is that they have not really been very truthful about, not very honest about what's going on for them in the sexual experience. So they're not actually saying, I don't really like those big, wet, sloppy kisses, or I don't really like it when you touch my breasts, or I don't really like it when I'm undressing and you're staring at me. I don't really like it when you hug me from behind. I mean, they're just not saying that because they just don't feel like it's even a possibility because of all those shoulds from the media, right? So what do you do instead? So I think we've really established that no one's really to blame except for culture and the media. That's my favorite thing to blame. But no one really here is doing anything wrong, so to speak. So as a woman, what do? Well, you fiercely follow the rule. If it's a maybe, it's a no. Because if it's a maybe, you are just going to be prone to pushing yourself to do things that you're uncomfortable with. That's just the way it works, unfortunately. So you need to really, really listen to your intuition. And if you're trying to convince yourself, oh, well, maybe once I'll get into it, I'll enjoy it, it's just a no. And at this point, women are worried, well, if I say no to everything that's a maybe, I'm not going to enjoy anything because I'm not really a sexual person and I really do need to convince myself, or has my husband convinced me. What I have found again and again with women is once they get themselves down to an utterly basic level, I enjoy laying on top of my husband and hearing his heartbeat. That I do enjoy that. Okay, great. That's a place to start, right? And a lot of times you have to start where, what are the things you don't like? I don't like the stroking feeling, like, ooh, it gives me shivers, or I don't like him kissing my neck, or I don't like him running his hands through my hair. I mean, all sorts of things. And then once you have permission to do that, to say no if it's a maybe, then you're able to actually free yourself up to really figure out what it is you like. And incredible things come from that. Things that you would have never considered even a possibility, or even something that could be tied to the sexual experience, holding hands, breathing together, having a really, really slow sex, kissing in different ways, kissing on the cheek, perhaps, using our lips in different ways that don't involve like sloppiness. There's just so many other options out there, but you do have to get to kind of that baseline, that foundation, and then you can build from there. So again, follow the rule fiercely. If it's a maybe, it's a no. And then, again, find alternate ways. So one conversation we have a lot in the Facebook group associated with my program, 30 Days to Wanting It More, is kissing. A lot of women actually don't enjoy kissing very much. But there's so many options. There's so many ways that you can kiss. There's so many ways that you can use your lips. For me, I don't really like this big sloppy kissing, but I like to just run my lips over my husband's. Maybe someone would not call that kissing, but that's something I really enjoy. And it's a sensation that I never would have experienced or explored if I hadn't fiercely followed the rule. If it's a maybe, it's a no. So another thing is to be really, really clear with your husband what you don't like and what you do like, okay? And feel really comfortable and confident knowing that what you do like is exactly that's your right. That's your, he's not doing anything he doesn't enjoy. So that's what equality is that everyone doesn't get to do the same thing, but everyone gets to do things that make them feel comfortable and safe and give them pleasure. So I hope that's really helped you maybe create some new boundaries in your marriage so that you can start looking forward to the sexual experience. If this is something that you want to learn more about and have more practical tips, more support, so much more, I really recommend you join my program, 30 Days to Wanting It More. I'll put the link down below. We have so much fun in the Facebook group. You don't have to join if you don't, the Facebook group if you don't want to. We just finished a live round, which means that my husband and I did Q&As each single week, and so we recorded them. So if you go in there, you can find out what a real life couple, how they implement these suggestions that I'm offering all the time. So again, I hope you do consider joining the program. It's super fun, if I do say so myself, and I will see you guys next week.